And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Mrgeocjhs, I think. Anyway, writes, it's about damn time. Superman reboot in the works at Warner Brothers with, and I never pronounce his first name properly, Ta-Nehisi. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. I've read his name a million times. I've never actually heard it spoken. So forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. Ta-Nehisi Coates, writing, J.J. Abrams producing. Deadline has confirmed that author Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing a Superman reboot feature for Warner Brothers and DC, which J.J. Abrams is producing under his Bad Robot label. No plot yet and no attachments, despite the fact that we've heard how Henry Cavill is eager to get back into the cape. Saw this headline. What are your thoughts? All right. That is something that kind of broke on Friday. So Friday, the news came out that J.J. Abrams was going to, that's it. J.J. is bringing us a new Superman. And they brought on the screenwriter. They're referring to it as a reboot. Now, of course, for those of you who watch the John Campea Show and have for a while, you remember that this was not news to you because you guys knew about this 9 months ago. You guys knew about this 9 months ago. How did you know about it 9 months ago? Well, because of this. I got reached out to by one of the guys who told me about the Batman situation that said, and I'm not going to quote directly here, but basically said this. J.J. Abrams is doing Superman. And what this person told me was the reason they're not making any announcements about standalone Superman right now is because they want JJ to still have some flexibility to make those decisions. But it very well could be Henry Cavill. Okay, so you guys remember we told you that we had somebody in Warner Bros. Who told us, yep, it's done. JJ is doing Superman. And at the time, they just weren't sure. JJ had not decided whether he wanted to pursue doing a completely fresh Superman with a new actor and all that kind of stuff, or whether they wanted to refresh the character, but still have Henry Cavill playing in the role. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Polygon who write the following. The new movie will be produced under J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot label. There is no director attached and no confirmation on whether the Superman role will be recast or if Henry Cavill will don the cape again. There have been rumors circulating since 2019 that Black Panther actor Michael B. Jordan would play Superman, but nothing has been confirmed. Coates has written Black Panther and Captain America series for Marvel Comics and received special thanks in the credits of Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. So that's where we're at. Now, look, to be clear, I think right now, they have decided what they're doing with Superman. Like, I believe 9 months ago, J.J. Abrams was still pondering whether he wanted to keep going with Henry Cavill as Superman or to swap it out and go with the new Superman. I think today, while they are not making any announcements, I think it is still possible Henry Cavill could be Superman. It's still possible. We've seen different comic book characters go through a reboot of sorts, but keep the lead actor. Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider is a great example. A lot of people forget that the second Ghost Rider movie was actually a reboot, but they kept Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. And then of course we've seen, like, even on television, Rob, Constantine. You know, they kind of rebooted him from one network to bring him into another network. They decided to keep that character and keep that actor. And they went, so they could do the same thing with Superman. They can just maybe reforge a story. Again, I have no idea if they are going to keep Henry Cavill or not. Obviously, you guys know Henry Cavill to me is the greatest Superman of all time. You can't see. Maybe you can just catch you can see a little, there right here. There's the S. Where is it? Right there. I got Henry always here looking over me. Henry is always here looking over me, keeping the studio safe and protected. So you know I love Henry Cavill as Superman. But, Rob, at the same time, you even as a big fan, you have to be aware of a couple of things. Number one, regardless of how much I love Henry Cavill as Superman, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people who have not liked that iteration of Superman. I don't understand But it's true. A lot of people didn't like Man of Steel. A lot of people didn't like his turn or didn't like Batman versus Superman. Fact number 2 is, listen, the reality is every movie Henry Cavill has been in as Superman has underperformed. Like, they didn't tank. They didn't do badly. But I'm sorry, if Captain Marvel can make $1 billion, a movie called Batman versus Superman should have tickled $2 billion. It should have gotten close to $2 billion, and it didn't even join the $1 billion club. So if you're an executive at Warner Brothers, here's the thing. If you're an executive at Warner Brothers, I get why there are legitimate reasons to ponder swapping out your Superman actor and starting fresh with a brand new Superman. I get it. I do. I understand it. Now, you're going to get a different answer from me. Obviously, I think keep Henry Cavill because I think he's the best. But that's me. If you're Warner Brothers and if you make another decision, I get it. I won't love it at first and I'll have to warm up to it, but I would get it. And I think we as fans can't lose sight of that we can't become tunnel visioned and just thinking, well, because I liked it, that means it's stupid not to have him come back. No, there would be some pretty legitimate reasons, I suppose, if you're a Warner Brothers executive. But me personally, I would bring him back. Regardless, it is now official. J.J. Abrams, Rob, is doing a new Superman, whether it's going to have Henry Cavill or not. They're moving forward with another Superman, and we will see how this turns out. Rob, there's so many moving pieces to this. You look at this situation. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, the Ta-Nehisi Coates is someone I'm actually a big fan of in terms of his writing. He wrote his debut novel was called The Water Dancer, which is a book that I read, and it dealt with, I mean, he writes a lot about race, issues of race, and white supremacy and things like that. But his book, The Water Dancer, was a great piece of historical science fiction. And it had a lot of heart. It even had somebody who had superhuman abilities. I highly recommend it. And he's written comics. He wrote a really interesting run in Black Panther. So he's one of America's preeminent writers, both as a journalist, a nonfiction author, and a fiction author. So it's a really, really bold choice to write the script. But I have to believe that this means that they're going to do the story of a black Superman, which there are black Superman in the DC universe, which could be exciting, or they're going to reimagine the Superman mythology. So I don't think that Henry Cavill is probably part of their plans, which also means that with them leaning into the multiverse, it doesn't mean that Henry Cavill is done as Superman over at Warner Brothers either. So what I find really interesting about this is, as a fan of Ta-Nehisi Coates' work, I'm very, very curious to see what he's going to write, what script he's going to write. I just don't imagine him. Maybe it's been his dream to write Superman. I don't know, but I think we're at the preliminary stages of this. I know it excites me that he's writing the script, just because I'm a fan of his work. Where J.J. Abrams would take this, I mean, remember he did write Flyby, the script, the Superman script that Mrgeocjhs was going to direct before they made Superman Returns.
Yeah, I heard you and Schnepp used to talk about that. Like,
yes,
I know Schnepp liked that script. Did he not?
It was, well, there was things in it that were interesting, and I even have a lot of there was animatics that were made. I'll tell you one thing, there was an incredible superhero battle in it, superhero battle that would have resulted in far more carnage and destruction than were in than Man of Steel. And people would have gone absolutely bananas with the amount of carnage and people who died at the end of that script. But it had some interesting stuff in it. So I'm curious about this. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a fascinating move, and I don't know what it means. I don't necessarily know. I just can't imagine that they're not going to make a film about a black Superman, simply because Ta-Nehisi Coates' writing has focused so much on issues of race. And he's been a great journalist. If you read, he goes all the way back to, he wrote for The Atlantic. He's a great writer.
I still think there's a chance, but at the same time, let's remember this. If JJ decides not to use Henry Cavill, that doesn't necessarily mean that Henry Cavill is done in the DCEU. Right now, we know there are going to be multiple Batmen. We've got Robert Pattinson is going to be in his Batman movies. And we've got, well, I mean, Ben Affleck is not going to go on as Batman, but at least he's going to appear in The Flash, right? And so is Michael Keaton, is at least going to appear in The Flash. They can have different, and with Walter Hamada at DC Fandom basically laying out, our DC thing is all one big multiverse, which means you can have that. So I still believe there is a chance JJ decided he still wants to have Henry Cavill as Superman. But even if he does not, that doesn't mean Henry's done as Superman. Maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but I believe that beyond Justice League, we are going to see Henry Cavill donning the crest of hope, the family of El. I believe we're going to see him with that crest on his chest again. And again, maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but I just am. Either way, I'm very curious to see where this goes. The whole idea of the Superman is one that you guys know has always completely fascinated me. I love the Superman character. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Jump on down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.